right, so I have some Play-Doh. I have a glue stick because I want to use the cap. I have a marker because I also want to use the cap. I got a fork so that I can use the edge there, or I can cut it with it. Pencil because maybe I want to poke some holes. A gift card or a laundry card, or a card that maybe you don't mind if you lose. So make sure you ask for this card if you find a card. But that is a nice sturdy edge that we can use for that. And we're gonna make an owl. So I have pictures of my owl I remember from before. And what I'm going to do is push those all to the side, and we're gonna smush up our Play-Doh. So we need to smush it up. And there's a couple different ways that you could make it. You could break it into pieces and do all the chunks. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some off to the side. So let's take a quick look at trying to get all the little. So there's two different chunks. If you have less than me, that's okay, but you have, you know, maybe 1/4 of it. So you could divide it in half and then take that half. So let's actually do that together. Take the whole big chunk and divide it into 2 equal parts. Take this one and divide that into 2 equal parts. This one into 2 equal parts. That's 4 parts, so we can call those quarters, like 4 quarters in a dollar. And take 1/4, put it to the side. We're gonna take these quarters and put them back together. That's 3 quarters. 1/4, 3 quarters makes 4 quarters. All right, we're gonna smush this up again. And what we're gonna do is roll it around and make a big sphere. It doesn't have to be perfect. Try to get all the little cracks to go away. Pressing down as you go. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our big sphere. Oh, my ring is making a pattern on it. We're gonna smush it down. And this is called a slab. So we take our sphere and we press down on it with our palm. We're making a slab. So we're gonna flip it over. And I'm pinching over to fix that part that started to split. And I'm pressing down with my palm. If I press with my fingers, then I'm gonna have lots of finger marks. If I press with my palm, mostly it's flat. Now I could use a roller and roll over it and be very flat, but then maybe it wouldn't be kind of circular, and that's what I want. I want it to be a circular shape today. All right, flip it over one more time. Oh, it's getting very smooth. As I press it flat, it gets bigger and bigger. We do not want it to be too thin, but we don't want it to be too thick either. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is, let's see, I could even stretch it a little bit. I'm gonna fold in 2 sides. When I fold in 2 sides, what I'm gonna do is I'm making the wings. So let's see, I even wanna stretch it out more. Make sure that it's kind of wide. So let's see, we're gonna try to make this oval shape. That would probably be best. And then I'm gonna fold it in. And I'm gonna press it down. I'm gonna fold in the other side. And then I'm gonna press that down. And I have the beginning of an owl. Remember this section that we had over here? Now what we can do is can come in and add some more. So let's actually see. I'm gonna make a little bit like that. So I'm gonna make 2 of them. See if they're even. Make them even. Feel a little, that one feels a little big. Put Put that back over there and we're gonna roll it out. Make another sphere. All right. We have 2 spheres. That looks great, but what I want to do is I want to make it flat. This is an owl that is flat. It is called a relief sculpture. When a sculpture is flat and has a back, it is called a relief. If it was a 3D sculpture and we could walk all the way around it, look at top, maybe even underneath, then we know it's a sculpture, and it's not a relief because it doesn't have a front and a back. Okay, so we want to have a front and a back on ours. So it's going to be flat on one side. All right, now I'm going to make these, and I'm going to also press them down. You can press them down with your thumb or with your palm. Wow, that's going to be nice. And they're pretty close to the same size. And I want to put them on where I want my eyes to be. I'm going to press them on. All right, now I might want to take some of this and add some details. We might want to stop for now and look at our tools. The tools we have to make different textures. So I know that it would be cool to have a circle inside my circle inside my circle, kind of like when we did in our drawing. So maybe I want to take my glue cap, press in, make a circle, shake it a little bit. You don't want it to be so much that it gets stuck inside, so you're not cutting it, you're just pressing into it. And take my glue cap like that. I could take my marker cap because it doesn't matter. I know this marker was the one that was wearing out, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use that one. Make sure you put your caps back on your glue sticks and on your markers so that they don't dry out. Ooh, I put a couple lines on that. Let's go. Put that back. Maybe I want to add some texture with a fork. You can come in and you can press like this, and it creates these cool lines, and they all are evenly far apart, which make an awesome texture, and it looks very feathery, little soft feathery feel to it. That's a choice. Okay, or you could use a different type of shape. You could do this, you could use the card and kind of go straight on and make all these lines. Did this with our marker before. We can go the other way. Let's do this up here first. And make sections like that. We could go back in with our pencil and make polka dots. Another different type of texture we could use. Depending on how deep you press the pencil is how big the polka dot will be. If you push down far, it'll get as thick as the pencil. If you just press a little bit, it's little. I could even draw on here. So maybe what we would draw, our cloud line. It's kind of like scoring. Scoring is a way to attach clay that you're going to dry out and keep. This is Play-Doh from Crayola. Maybe I want to remove some of those little things, little crumbs. You can use the clay that will dry. If you want to follow one of the recipes online, you can make air dry clay at your own. Salt dough or salt clay is really great for that too. However, I'm not going to require that you make your own clay or anything like that because I know how hard it is right now to find flour. And if you can't find any flour, how can you make any clay? And maybe you want that flour so you can make bread or other recipes. And I don't want you to use your flour for that, for clay if you're going to use it for food. So let's think. We made eyebrow feathers before, so maybe now is a good time to take the extra clay that we talked about before, and we can take a pinch here and we can actually make what we call a coil. A coil is when we roll forward and back. Have to go forward and back. If you go in a circle, it will make a sphere. That's a circle. It'll make a sphere. But if you go forward and back, it will make a coil. And you can decide how thick you want it to be. If you want it to be smaller, you can keep going. I'm going to press down. I like to look at how my fingers are. My fingers are together, and then I go and I start pulling them apart as I go. That is one way to keep it getting longer and skinnier. All right. Now I might want to pick a pinch the edges to make it go narrower, and I could lay it on here across. So I might want to make it remember, we're making a flat sculpture, so it's okay to press down and smush it a little bit. And this would be a good maybe that one works. I don't know. But adding texture makes it way cooler than if we just left it. Okay, and we don't have any feet, so we should really think about that. And we need a beak. So I'm thinking about that size, a little bit more for my beak. Making, so remember I told you about that circle shape, making a sphere. Maybe I want to make it a little bit more like an oval. If I take one end, and I roll that just one side, it becomes like a cone. You can smush it. It looks like a teardrop, and I can push that on just like that, and I have my beak, and I can make some feet in a similar way. Maybe I want to make them a little smaller though. Let's see. Okay, they're about the same. Remember, I'm going to go like this to one end, not both sides, to sort of make this sort of teardrop shape, and I'm going to smush it. And I might want to go like this, or I could go like that. I'm going to go like that. Then I'm going to come in with my card and cut away little bits to make a talon. So that looks really awesome. There are a lot of ways you could do this. Just showing you what I would do. And I'm very curious what you would do, how you would make it. What textures would you add to yours? Now I didn't really add any textures up there. I could take little bits of clay and add little feathers with clay. I might want to shape them a little bit better before I stick them on. But if I layer them, it will look like feathers. If you make this out of air dry clay and you follow one of the salt dough recipes online, you can save it by letting it dry out over a couple of days. You probably want to flip it over. This would be great to keep and turn into a wall hanging. If you don't have that clay, it's okay. Uh-oh, lost one of my feet. Push that in there really good. I wanted to hold it at different angles so that you could see all of the texture and think about how you might add texture into yours. And you could keep going. I mean, you could add lines going out from the eyes. That really is making me think of eyelashes. if you have different color clay and you're okay with mixing it up, you could do that. Layer on different colors. Have fun. But this is an exercise in how to make a relief sculpture, how to add texture onto clay, kind of like how we added the texture into our drawings, similar to the concept that we talked about, okay? But you're doing it by pressing into the clay, and a little bit by having it on top. I mean, you could just keep going, but I think that's where I'll stop.